What's going on, everybody? It's Blandon here from Mortgage HQ. So, revolving credit facility or offset loan? Which one is better? Let's find out. Now, this video is going to make a lot more sense if you understand how the revolving credit facility works. So do check out our other video called the Revolving Credit Facility 101 video. And while you're down in the description below, make sure you hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It's going to help us immensely. Thank you so much. And if you stay till the end, I'm going to show you what the preference is for property investor. Is it an offset loan or a revolving credit facility? Now think of it like this. A revolving credit facility is like an automatic car. If you need to get from A to B, it's going to do the job. An offset is like an automatic and it's got the manual function. You can use the Tiptronic if you want. It's got all these extra bits, but you don't really need it. But there are a few advantages with those extra functionality, which I'm going to show you in this example. Here are the three key differences between the revolving credit facility and the offset loan. The first one being functionality. Now, if you guys know how a revolving credit facility works, it is an overdraft account, kind of like this. So if you want the offset effect, you will need to put the money inside that particular account. So maybe you owe 100,000, you got to make sure you put the money in there and you get charged interest on the difference. In an offset loan, you can get the same effect. It's going to look at how much savings you have in your accounts and then look at the balance of your loan and charge you interest on the difference. Say for example, if you got a $100,000 offset loan and then you've got 15K in one account, you've got 10K in another savings account and then 9K. So instead of paying interest on a $100,000 mortgage, you add all of these savings up. So basically that's 25 plus 9,000, which is 34,000. You pay interest on 66,000 instead of 100,000. You can have multiple accounts, whereas the revolving credit facility, you're using just one overdraft. The second difference is the terms. What do I mean by that? First of all, with the revolving credit facility is always interest only, whereas in the offset loan, you can have interest only or principal and interest. Now, what's the difference? Over here, it's going to look at the balance every day and then calculate the interest on the difference, and you pay that at the end of the month. Any extra dollar that you put in the revolving credit goes towards the principal. Likewise, on the offset, it's going to look at all the savings in all the accounts every day and then calculate the interest on the difference. However, if you have a principal and interest function on the offset account, it's going to force you to pay off a little bit of this loan at the end of each repayment cycle. So depending on how many years you pick on this, it might take 25, 20, 15 years. You can have the offset loan paid off within the time frame. Now, as a property investor, whether you take a revolving credit facility or a principal and interest loan is not going to affect your servicing capacity. So the amount of borrowing usually is around the same. Whereas for an offset loan, if you take the interest only function, which is exactly the same as a revolving credit, that is actually going to lower your borrowing capacity slightly because the bank will use a shorter term to calculate your servicing. Whereas a principal and interest, it's always on a slightly longer term. You can have it on 30 years, whereas an offset on interest only can only be on 25 years. So for a property investor, if they're trying to max out their borrowing, the offset might lower their borrowing capacity slightly. The third key difference is the availability. Now with the revolving credit, it is available at every single main bank in New Zealand. Whereas the offset loan is only available at 3 major banks, that is Westpac, Kiwibank, and BNZ. With revolving credit facility, the bank usually have a limit around that 200 to 350K mark, depending on which bank you're with. With the offset loan, however, there are no limits. You can have as much of your mortgage on an offset loan as you want. So in some particular property strategies like trading, an offset is usually more desirable. So which one is actually a preference for a property investor?
Jab to follow it up. Again with the jab.
Yes! Always!
Because you might have guessed it already, with this one you have a little bit more to play around with, you have a bit more control, and if you're good with your money, you want to be more creative, then the offset is 100% going to be more useful for a property investor, because you can have multiple rental accounts and then you have your personal account that is going to offset the particular loan. But revolving credit, in saying that, is going to do the job as well, and it's just how you're going to be managing your money that's going to be different. The one thing that you have to remember with the offset loan is that it will only offset money in an account that has the same name. So if the mortgage is in a company, then the checking account or the savings account has to be a company. If it's under a personal name, then you can only offset personal accounts. So if you have a more complex structure that you have some under personal name, some in the trust, some in your LTC, then you're best to strategize with a mortgage advisor on how you can best utilize that. As always, if you guys want to learn more, do check out our stage 1, 2, 3 masterclass in the link in the description below. We also have a Facebook group called the MHQ Nation, where we interview some professionals in the industry and we do a live Q&A session. Do check it out. I'll see you guys in the next video.